New tonight, Howard Schultz speaking out to CNN in an interview with our Poppy Harlow. He's doubling down on his possible run for the White House and attacking the Democrats who are slamming him.
Why do you think Medicare for All, in your words, is not American?
It's not that it's not American, it's unaffordable. So let me be very clear.
Because you called it not American.
Healthcare has been central to my entire life. We've just talked about that. The first company in America to provide comprehensive health insurance to part-time people. I know a lot about this issue. It's deeply in my heart. Now, what I believe is that every American has the right to affordable health care as a statement. I also believe that the Affordable Care Act under President Obama was the right thing to do to provide over 30 million people who did not have insurance to get insurance. But now that we look back on it, the premiums have skyrocketed, and we need to go back to the Affordable Care Act, refine it, and fix it. In addition to that, we need corporations to have more skin in the game. We talked about that earlier, and we must have self-interest and the lobbying efforts of the pharmaceutical companies come to the table with a level of transparency to lower the cost of prescription drugs.
So the price tag on it, whether you look at the Urban Institute numbers or the Mercatus numbers, are $32 trillion for Medicare for All over a decade. But Senator Sanders says of his plan, yes, you pay more in taxes for it. The health care savings that Americans aren't spending to private insurers is $2 trillion. You say.
This is not true.
I'm interested in what you would do and what you would propose as president for the roughly 11 million undocumented immigrants currently in this country, not just the Dreamers. What would you do?
First off, I agree with the Republicans completely that we need strict, stiff border security.
But not
with a wall, which is insanity. So I agree. I also agree with the Republicans, not the Democrats, that ICE has a major role to play in this. But Republicans want to strip mothers from babies and put kids in internment camps. I don't agree with that. I think it's un-American for the Dreamers not to have a pathway to citizenship, and they should be given that. With regard to the 11 million people who are unauthorized, let them get in line, pay taxes, pay a fee, and over time, give them the opportunity to become Americans.
But they remain under a Schultz presidency. If you had your druthers, those 11 million undocumented immigrants would remain in this country on a path to citizenship?
Correct.
In the final analysis, if you run, Howard, and if you run, you take more away from Democrats than Republicans, and we don't know. We don't know what that would be, and I've looked at all the polling back to the exit polls with Ross Perot. We just don't know.
This isn't Ross Perot.
But if that's the final analysis, that President Trump gets a second term and that you pulled more from Democrats, would that keep you up at night?
I would never put myself in a position where I would be the person who re-elects Donald Trump, but that is not what I believe today.
Fascinating. I mean, Poppy, and that obviously such a crucial question. And you mentioned Ross Perot. You also talked to him about Michael Bloomberg, right? Someone who thought about running as an independent last time around against Donald Trump.
My jaw dropped when he said this to me. Before I even asked about Bloomberg, he offered up to me, he said, Poppy, if Mike Bloomberg ran 2 years ago as an independent, I think he would have won. And I said, Howard, Mike Bloomberg doesn't even think that. He said he looked at the data and he couldn't win as an independent. He said, I disagree with that. He points to the polling with more than 40% of Americans identifying as independents now. He thinks that. And I will tell you that I then asked, okay, so if Mike Bloomberg jumps in the race, a more centrist Democrat, does that mean Howard Schultz doesn't run? His answer, Mike Bloomberg has nothing to do with my decision to run or not.
That is fascinating.
We'll see.
Well, that's really interesting that he thinks that Michael Bloomberg could have won. I think a lot of people watching it have their jaws up. And by the way, I want everyone to know your full interview, your show tomorrow, we're going to see a lot more of this. So excellent, and thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Absolutely.
And I want to go now to someone who's going to be in the center of the Howard Schultz decision, political advisor Bill Burton, who served as deputy press secretary under President Obama. And, you know, in the last section there, when Poppy was asking Howard Schultz about Ross Perot and this whole independent. Is getting at the heart of the vitriol and anger out there right now, okay? I'm going to be direct here. I've known you for a long time. Your former Obama White House colleague, David Axelrod, tweeted, one thing you can be sure of, the consultants who sign on with the Howard Schultz campaign may help facilitate the second Trump term, but surely they will make enough to keep themselves in overpriced coffee drinks for life. And another former Obama aide tells CNN no amount of money would be worth doing this. Okay, they're saying you're doing this for the money. What do you say?
Well, I can guarantee that I will make less money in this effort than David Axelrod made on the Obama campaign. Look, I mean, we can talk about money all day long. I'm helping out as an advisor and consulting him in this decision while he's on this journey, and it's an awesome journey to be on. But I'm here because I think that he's a great guy, and he's got a great story to tell, and he is going to be going around the country talking to people about what his vision is and how we can make politics better, how we can make our government better and actually work for the American people.
And he's there for so he's there for the right reasons, in your view?
100%.
Okay, so in an op-ed, you know, you wrote actually, because it's a third-party problem in this country, and one, you know, has been a problem, right? It would be nice to have a third-party candidate. It never happens because the math never works. You wrote, in the same way I would bet that Ralph Nader, or at least many of his supporters, wishes that he didn't help to make George W. Bush our 43rd commander-in-chief, I suppose Jill Stein supporters would not want to be in the position of explaining to their kids how they helped make Trump president. Okay, in the end, Stein gets more votes in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Bill. You know this better than anyone. Than Trump's margin of victory, right? So you remove Stein, one could make a very big argument that Hillary Clinton would be the president of the United States. What if Schultz is the new Stein?
The big difference between Howard Schultz and Jill Stein or Ralph Nader is that they argued that the two candidates were too similar, right? I don't think that that's the problem now. Howard Schultz doesn't think that that's the issue, which is why he's exploring it this way. He thinks that the parties are so polarized and so far apart from each other that the majority of the American people are what's together and what's similar. And he's just going out and asking the question, well, is there a better way to help focus that energy? And
Interesting. So you said the problem has changed. So then it was they were too similar. There weren't enough at the polls. Well, you couldn't unite the polls in one candidate anyway. You're saying now that the hole is in the wide middle.
I'm saying, I'm saying the politics are different, and I'm saying that their motivations were different as well. Howard Schultz is in this because he believes most Americans agree on most of the big issues.
All right, so the president wants Schultz to get in, okay, because he thinks that it will help him. So he said, he tweeted that he didn't have the guts to be president. Maggie from the New York Times reported that Trump told the crowd at the Trump Hotel tonight fundraiser that he was trying to get Howard Schultz into the race with his tweet, you know, saying he has no guts, because he thinks he'll help him.
It's hilarious. I mean, look, here's the problem, is you have a president who is setting an awful tone on Twitter, and it's just, it's taking everybody else down the gutter with him. Howard Schultz didn't respond to that tweet because he doesn't think that childish games deserve a response, and he's not going to respond to a lot of the childishness on the internet.
So is that the strategy? Because, you know, when it comes to Trump, this is a tough one. People who don't respond get beaten, like Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio. Then when you do respond like Marco Rubio, you often look smaller when you do so. No one has seemed to figure out how to deal with Trump. You lose when you respond, you lose when you don't.
I'm not taking off the table that he'll ever respond to a Trump tweet. It's so foolish that we even have to talk about it because of who the president is.
Yeah.
But I am saying that he is trying to elevate this debate. And there's nothing more important to him than beating Donald Trump. He thinks he's fundamentally unfit for office and will do anything he can to stop him.
All right, Bill Burton, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and you can listen to Poppy's full interview with Howard Schultz on her CNN podcast, Boss Files. And as I said, also on her show with Poppy and Jim Sciutto tomorrow. And all of that is tomorrow morning.